I was, to summarize, I was a weird kid back then.
Question.
Yeah.
Weird kid. Put a name to it. What? Because straight up, the joke I was going to say was autistic Andrew. Like I just, and this is like me speaking, just like how you're really good at relating to your younger self. I'm really good at presenting my younger self. My younger self was like, Andrew's autistic. That's why he's like this. That's why he's weird. Are you?
Well,
Never asked.
Well, you're not wrong. It's just
Put a name to it. Like what?
so the autism that I was diagnosed with was basically called Aspergers, which is basically a high functioning autism.
Okay.
If you were to refer to it in the medical literature today, it would just be high functioning autism.
Okay.
And it can manifest in several ways. So it could be like, a savant, where they're so good at one thing and everything else they're garbage at.
Yep.
That's one way high functioning
Calling yourself a savant, mate?
No, like I was more on the lower end of the spectrum.
Oh, so you don't get all the superpowers?
No, but I had it enough that to become a more functional member of society. Let's put it this way: you have to teach an autistic person the rules of society, or they have to teach themselves.
Okay.
Sometimes with a lot of people, you don't have to teach them those rules; they just naturally pick it up. But as high functioning autistic, I'm just gonna call it Asperger's.
Asperger's the word. Asperger's Andrews. Done.
No, but
Please, hey, tell me off. If I say anything you don't like, tell me. All right. This is a very honest.
No,
this is done live. If I say something and I step out of line, because Andrew, I make fucking jokes, bro.
Yeah.
It's my thing. I'm gonna push that line. If you don't like being pushed, you tell me. I'm back.
No, but it's fine. It's in the past right now.
That's not the past. I've just said it right now. Just called you.
No, but in a sense, I still have it, but it's just that I've been able to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
So
you have.
I'm more high functioning than that. I still have like high functioning autism, Asperger's, but it's just that I've made the effort to improve myself, filling in the gaps, but I'm not, in a sense. Do you know neurotypical? What a neurotypical person? So a neurotypical person is a person that has an average mentality, brain kind of thing. So I'm not a neurotypical person. I'm definitely I forgot what it's called.
Neuroatypical.
Like
atypical neurotics.
Probably,
but I get your point.
Like
it's the opposite of okay. I get you. Like whatever normal neurology of a person is, you haven't got that.
No.
Yours is different. Correct.
Well, like so I had to train and learn
to be able to adapt and behave. Is the word behave? Or
behave.
Are we now acting? Is it now an act though? Like, are you just learning the way I'm meant to act, meant to pretend? Or?
No. It's not the way to act. It's more like the rules of society. And how to operate within those rules, because I still display typical Asperger's behavior,
such as.
So like I find high difficulty in lying. I can lie. But I find high difficulty in that. Okay. But if I put myself if I either don't talk or I don't put myself in the position where I have to lie, that trait, even though it's always there, it's not something that a person would go, okay, that's weird. Right? Like a lot of like what's some behavior that like, for example, the average autistic person normally outwardly doesn't display a lot of empathy.
Mhm.
They can be.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah, there's a because they're primarily thinking about themselves, and they can only
Selfish
think about.
bitch.
Well, you can say that, right? They only think of themselves. They feel the world is too
That's what's
understandable,
Mhm.
and so they act out, lash out, and that was something I had to work on.
level of you weren't understanding things. Like
Yeah, I was.
when it came to social stuff, you
I
couldn't
didn't
comprehend
understand.
it.
Yeah, so I had to work through that step by step, and eventually, I'm now a person that can socialize fine with people. But while, for example, I had to watch YouTube videos on how to be normal in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another person would just pick it up.
Just pick it up. It's not okay. Question.
Yeah.
Do you then think the pressure to function normally is then higher on someone like yourself, where, especially when you're telling me you're on the lower end of it, right? So what I'm seeing is this: you present fine, right? You present as someone who should be normal, but because it's obviously that you're not normal, as the mere definition of what normal is, because what the fuck is normal, right? I don't know what normal is. But because of that, you then have to. People don't take into account that. See, and then anything that steps out of that line of normal, because they're looking at you like, I meet you, high school kid, I'm your age, bro. You know, I'm gonna assess you at the same scale that I assess everyone else in my age.
Yeah.
And so you look like me, you act like me, you can do things that I do to some extent, and all that little social stuff that sticks out. Nah, man, I'm gonna point at that. And when you're in high school, you're puberty, you're different. I'm gonna point at that, and especially if you're coming from a background where you've also experienced your own level of bullying. Mate, you're an easy target, Andrew. You're going down, Andrew. You are getting. I'm gonna be so snide to you. It's not even funny. And so, do you feel like because people then see that they go, okay, I'm not tolerating this. I'm not gonna give this the tolerance, which you think not that not that they must. It's not that they have to give you that tolerance, right? Anyone that tolerance. Humans, you're free to do whatever the fuck you want to do. But I feel like with understanding, people are then more open to being tolerant. But because there's a disconnect, there's no understanding of, they look at someone and go, why? I want to hold you to my expectations. And maybe they shouldn't be.
Well, to put it this way, everyone's different, right? To certain degrees, some people deviate more than a normal person. And you are right, where when you're a teenager, you just want to be accepted and you just want to fit in. Basically, throughout my life, I never really felt that need, mainly because I was always the black sheep. So me being part of a group is like, sure, it's cool. And if it's not, okay, I just do my own shit, like I always do.
Then I also see how that like affects the social side of it as well, because then this is how like, and this is me like dobbing you in. This is how it presents. This is what Andy does, because you're cool with being accepted when you can, right? Which means that you're always down for the attempt.
Yeah.
So you're like, no matter, and if someone else will go, and that's how you like balance you with people who are more anxious, more less confident. They don't want to get into things. You have people too confident. Then you have on your end where people might not be down for that. You obviously haven't been able to read that. You've just gone, hey, I want to be a part of this. I'm going to have the attempt. And in the attempt, people are able to label, because, that's where we record things with our minds and with our experiences. We see the attempt. Boom. We go, great. That now I'm in a certain way about it. Now, you've gone off. You're fine. You haven't missed out on shit. You care. Like, you're perfectly fine doing your own thing, learning your own thing. However, the world has now had an impression. Especially when that world mainly consists of what? How old were we when we met? Like 14, 15?
14, yeah.
14? Yeah, there you go. We met at martial arts, right? Do you know the year you started martial arts?
Pretty sure you were training already before when I started training.
Definitely.
So it was, I think it was year 9 or 10.
Year 9? Okay.
Yeah.
About 8 minutes. 9. So why did you join martial arts at the start? You getting your ass kicked? What's going on?
So the reason why was, my dad kind of just forced me.
Okay.
Because he was like, Because I used to have a thing on Sunday that I didn't like, and I had an argument with him for like ages.
What was the thing on Sunday?
Well, no names.
Can you don't tell me what you were doing? Can you tell me like no, don't tell me the name. Tell me what it consisted of. Like, was it?
Well, it was basically Buddhist scouts. So
That's not a name, bro. That's just a
No,
religion.
but
Forget that. No, just don't tell me where it was. Don't tell me who ran it. Just okay, I get it. It was you were doing some religious extracurriculars that you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
So you're doing martial arts
basically,
instead.
he wanted me to do something, and then he kind of forced me to, and I kind of did it for a couple of years, and I guess that's why I wasn't never really motivated
Mm.
to train. I'm more motivated.
So you came off into it with the wrong foot, anyways,
Yeah.
because you were just forced in something
Yeah.
you didn't want to do. Like you already didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And
And then
then people there didn't help you want to be there either.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with that.
But yeah, that's basically the story. There's not much else I have to say.
Okay. No, because I still want to unpack what you were saying before about to do with that impression.
Yeah.
How you leave an impression, like, and
Oh, actually, no. That I remember that rang a 4 in my head. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That autistic people have to train their empathy, while a person in a calm state of mind would normally consider that. The average autistic person wouldn't. They'll just do it because they want to do it, and they don't care about what you think or that kind of thing.
it sounds so insensitive when you describe it like that. However, I don't see it like that, but it sounds like I think this is correct me if I'm wrong. Should we then also then assess the level of ability to consider? Because the thing is this, right? Me, I'm a bad person, so I'm gonna do this to get what I want. I know you're gonna lose out, man, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I've accepted the gain that comes with. In a sense of someone who's being different mental conditions, would
let's
they
put
then
it
not be
this
able to
way.
consider that?
So let's put it this way: you're an autistic kid. All you want is to have friends.
Yeah.
So you're not thinking about, oh, if I act this way, people aren't gonna like me. You just want yourself to be accepted and have friends. You don't like really consider all the like satellite
Yeah,
thoughts.
of course.
Like a normal person might go, oh, I'm gonna do this
What does this do?
to
How
get
does
this,
affect?
but an autistic person might be like, I just want to do this. There's like they do this, and then there's no satellite for you have to train yourself to have those.
Yeah, to think what are the causations that add up to this? Like, what are the fruit of my labors? I go into this, I haven't considered where me and this person stands, and now I've left their impression. You wouldn't have considered that.
Just to clarify, I don't represent,
Of course,
autistic people in general.
you represent your experience.
I represent my experience. That's correct. So I just want to make sure
Huge
if
disclaimer.
someone who watches this is clear that this has been my experience,
Yep.
and you could be the person that is autistic and can think all the little things, because I also know it's the case that some people or some autistic people overthink, and because they overthink, they can't do anything.
And I think it's very important not to box anything into a certain definition. I feel like there's a lot more to learn. Do you reckon? Or has it been all figured out yet? Like,
there's a lot.
All the research has been done. Like, we're done. We know what's up. Or day by day we're learning.
No. The research is far from being done. It's there's more to learn. The brain is a very complicated organ. Technically, it is understood that if you were to scan the brain and scan every neuron and how it fired perfectly, you would be able to recreate the person that the brain was scanned of, right? But then here's the thing, right? If you have two identical people, you couldn't, if you give them new information, you can't control how their brains would rewire themselves to accept the information.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Cool. Just because they've got the same brain.
even if they have the same brain, the brain is very complicated in
Very
that sense.
complicated. Yeah. Okay.
So like I said before, if I was to scan you at this very instant and make a copy of you,
Copy.
a
Don't
copy,
make a copy of me, bro.
the copies would start to diverge. Like the original and the copy
They
would.
would go on with their lives. They would
Yeah, yeah.
do their things. The
Yeah.
influences
Like,
would
like even if you gave them
exactly
the same scenario,
experiences.
they could
They do their own thing.
develop in different ways.
Oh, okay. I suppose that's fair enough. I can't logically put the bricks to that. I'm not smart enough to. But I feel like that's definitely more interesting, right? Isn't that more fascinating? That you can make the same two people, give them the same experiences, and they would end up different.
Yeah,
But even slightly, or a lot.
because I could tell you that I could have very easily ended up socially adept, getting myself socially worse than I was before if I hadn't thought
Gone through a certain level of thinking, or you could be better off at an earlier stage had you gone. Because I'm imagining a scenario where, with the correct, and it's because the Asian community, the education community, they all go about it. I don't know what the right way is. I'm not smart enough to. I'm not the wrong way either. It's just, it's right for some people. Definitely works, but it's not obviously not one size fits all.
Yeah.
I mean, a big question I got to ask is, you know how we treated you, and I think there's not much to go in on that. We weren't your friend, not much your friend. Even to this day, Andrew, I've only started warming up to being your friend now because I've given that opportunity to understand you and talk to you. But I wasn't your friend. We all knew that. What about the adults? What about the teachers? How did they go about, like...
I think the adults, like, some of them were like, alright. Some of them were understanding. Some of them, and then he's a weird kid that we can't help.
And they didn't... Okay, cool.
Well, they didn't do anything, in a sense.
Because...
Like for
when you
example,
say do anything, were you expecting something to be done, my friend?
No. As in, they didn't do anything.
Oh.
Like that's what I meant. Like they just treated me like any other student.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And that's and you're fine to accept that. You don't obviously hold resentment for that at all.
No.
Being treated.
It's like I understand. I'm at the point where I understand why they did that and why I wasn't helping myself either at the time.
I mean, I get you. You're good at holding yourself responsible for obviously, what you commit and all things like that. Great. But do you at all have this level of, first of all, for you, people could have done better if they understood better, but also not for you. There should be the experience shouldn't have been that crappy. It shouldn't be a normal thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's
like here's the thing. I can honestly tell you, I didn't help myself either, right?
Yeah.
If I had, let's take our martial arts training, right? Even if I was autistic, if I had trained really hard, then I would be that weird guy that everyone respected.
Because he did well.
Yeah. But because I didn't care about the training and I didn't apply myself, then I was just that weird kid that nobody liked.
But
So
my point is, like, again, you're responsible for you're responsible. Yeah, you didn't help yourself, man. But nobody helped Andrew help Andrew.
But no one
Andrew
knew.
needed help, though.
But no one knew. And how was it?
We knew. There was something different.
You knew I was weird, but was it? It's not your responsibility to
Not mine.
learn.
Maybe the adults. And I don't put, like,
But they
burden
don't have the
on-
time for that either.
I don't put burden on the martial arts, and I don't put too much burden on education. Like, I call out education, and yes, exactly what you're saying. Time. They don't have time for that, and that's across the board, right? They have no time. And what I'm seeing is then how we level this is meds, right? And the question that kind of raised to me was like, at what level are we compromising the level of effectiveness that we're able to perform for people like yourself, or to different degrees. We've just medication and stuff because we don't have time. We don't have the skills. We don't have the resources because we can admit that. It's fine, like to admit that.
Like the information is readily there, and you could probably learn it in
Yeah.
about an hour.
Yeah.
But the thing is, why would they think about learning it? They didn't know. They just knew me as some weird kid, right?
Mm.
And the thing is, even though I say that the education can be provided in an hour, it might take several hours to find that hour of education where you understand the person.
Okay.
So it's even back then, I just accepted myself as who I was. I accepted that I wasn't liked, and I was like, yeah, okay, it is what it is.
It is what it. No lie, I no lie.